Hello, upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. Hello, world. How the heck are you? What's happening, y'all? Great to be with you. I am Rob Brown. The great one, Lonzo, the professor of perfection, is on the other side of the glass, both literally and metaphorically, and we are ready to bring you 3 hours of sports talk excellence starting right now. What's up?
I just turned around and noticed that something is back.
The sign's back.
So our theory might have been incorrect.
The sign's back, and whoever hung it did a terrible job.
Yeah, they did, because it's way too low.
Framing's awful.
Yeah,
It's too low. It's dead. Just people, Lonzo and I have nothing less than expectations of perfection. We can't even frame a sign correctly. Unbelievable.
It's all right. We'll fix it during the break. And if you want to see what we're talking about, we're on YouTube and Facebook and stuff.
Lonzo, you know what day it is?
It's a game day, I believe.
Game day! Let's go! That's right. We got a weekday match. We got a big one tonight.
It's a day when Rob tests my fader skills.
Correct. I'm going to open the show loud. I'm going to stay loud. It's match day, baby. Can't wait. This evening, 7 o'clock, Legacy Early College, your Greenville Triumph, play host to some of y'all's, also your Charlotte FC. The MLS side out of North Carolina. Come on and raise up. Down the crown, up the Triumph. Let's have a little fun. And speaking of Charlotte FC, coming up at 9:30, a voice that many of you will find familiar, Will Pelagic, is going to join. I need you to know I practiced that.
Yeah, that was skillful.
Practice that a lot.
I'm very impressed.
Will Pelagic is a radio play-by-play reporter / analyst who covers Charlotte FC. He is on the official Charlotte FC play-by-play squad. He will join us at 9:30 to break this match down from the Charlotte FC perspective. And we'll ask him a little bit about the season that CFC has been having so far as well. And look, I got to tell you, I'm on board with CFC. I got a Charlotte FC scarf flying in the office right now. I'm on board. I like them. I enjoy the way they've been playing the last few weeks. Had a tough L last week, but before that, had a couple of really good wins, including another one against Atlanta United, sorry. Get all my nomenclature correct. Will Pelagic's going to join us at 9:30 in about 25 minutes. Then at 10:30, we'll be joined by Chris Lewis. He is the president of the Greenville Triumph, and Doug Irwin. He is the chief branding officer of the Triumph. And I'm excited about that conversation. I mean, obviously, we will talk about the match and what's going to happen tonight at Legacy Early, but the conversation I wanted to have is what this match means for the upstate, because I think it's big, right? I think it's big. There is always, has always been, and maybe will always be, a bit of a stigma, I guess we'll say, against lower level professional sports, right? It's a challenge. If you've ever talked or spoken with anybody who works in professional sports, you will hear them say that it's a tough gig, man. It's a tough gig. Getting money to run the team is tough. Having the right amount of supplies is tough. Personnel issues can be tough. There is a lot to it that is tough. And a match like this has the potential to really spark something special for a team like the Greenville Triumph. But I think there's something to it for the community as a whole, right? Especially for the next generation. The kids that are playing high school soccer right now, or sports in general. The kids that are in middle school playing and looking up. Every time I go, if you've not gotten the opportunity Tonight's going to be a big one. But if you've not gotten an opportunity to make it out to Legacy Early College for a Greenville Triumph match yet, I go to all of them. And I want you to know one thing that I genuinely love, one thing that excites me, is when you look around at the number of young athletes who come out to these games religiously. Young athletes. I'm talking elementary schoolers. I'm talking middle schoolers. I'm talking high schoolers. The kids that come out and they get caught up in this environment. They get caught up in this atmosphere. And that's why it kind of bugs me when I go to local. I go to as many local professional sports games as I can between the Drive, the Triumph, the Swamp Rabbits, the artists formerly known as the Spartanburgers, which I'm sad to report are no more. When I would go out to these games, it always got me really hype when I go and the stadiums are packed, and it always depresses me a little bit when they're not. Not even for the professional athletes or the teams or the guys that I know in the front offices of all three. What bums me out about it primarily is when I see young athletes there. When I see young athletes to whom ball is life because they haven't met real life yet. And they, it must be nice, Lonzo, still have things like hopes and dreams. Things we all left in the dust. And they look around when they see a stadium that is packed out, as it will be tonight at Legacy Early College. Standing room only, sold out, let's go! When they look around and they see that, and they go, all right, even if I don't make it to the league, whether it's MLS or MLB or NBA, I still have the opportunity to go out here and do what I love and make a little money and have some fun and chase my dream, and who knows how far it will take me. It also bugs me when I see them show up to a match and there's a couple hundred people there. And they look around because I know that can be a little bit, I don't know, demoralizing, right? Because you're a middle school kid playing soccer, and you got dreams of going pro one day. And even if the show's not available, there are lower tiers of soccer professionally that you can make it into. And you may even have the goal of, what I'm going to do? One day I'm going to grow up, and if I can't make it to the league, I'm going to represent my city. I'm going to find a way to play for the Greenville Triumph one day. And then you go out, there's 150 people there. This has not happened with the Triumph. I'm making a point. This is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to show those kids that their dreams, even if they don't make it to the top tier level, are still there. Sports are worth pursuing. And as far as the community goes, we're already on the map. This is a chance for us to highlight ourselves on the map. You know how kids, there used to be things, Alonzo remembers, there used to be things that they were called an atlas. You remember atlases?
I do.
It was an atlas, and it was this big, giant fold-out map. And you could get an atlas of the whole country or a state or whatever. And when you looked at an atlas...
It's like Google Maps on paper.
Right. Do you remember having to print out driving instructions from, like, MapQuest?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still always got lost.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of fun having to try to read MapQuest while you're driving, which you should never do, but everyone did. And then you have to pull over into a place that you probably shouldn't pull over to read, and the whole time you got your doors locked going. Oh.
Yeah, and if you misjudged and missed a turn, MapQuest didn't go, rerouting. In 3.2 miles, turn left.
Struggle was real back in the day, yo.
Very real. On an atlas, which was a big map, that when your dad was driving, your mom would open it to read him the directions and then get confused. And then dad would yell at her, and then dad would be like, give me that. And now dad's reading it over the steering wheel. It was not great. It was not a great time. It was not the golden era of tech.
Yeah, I made my kids be the navigator so I could, get on them when we went the wrong way.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Nobody wanted to be Atlas guy in the car because one mistake from Atlas guy and the driver was blaming everything that went wrong on you for the rest of the trip. Well, we wouldn't have been late and missed our reservation and missed dinner and gotten hangry and gotten into a fight and then woke up mad the next day and been late to go into Disney World if you hadn't missed the turn, Janet! That's what it was like back in the day, kids. Anyway, when you open an atlas and you looked at it, if you looked at like a nationwide atlas, like all the big cities got big, thick, black font, right? Chicago, Los Angeles, Charlotte. And then down there underneath it, it would be like Greenville, like in little small, tiny letters. And if you didn't know the region you were looking at, you wouldn't have found the city. We are there now. If we want to bold and enlarge that font, show the hell out today. Show out today. I know 110, the supporter section, is sold out. I got friends looking for tickets, can't find them. I know 110 sold out. I'm relatively sure both sides are sold out. Show up, be loud, hashtag bang the drum, hashtag defend the 864. Let's get on national television. Let's show the world what the hell Greenville, South Carolina is all about. Cannot wait. Legacy Early is going to be freaking rocking tonight.
Bring extra sticks, Rob.
There are 3 pairs of them
in
the truck right now.
All right.
For that exact reason.
All right. Just trying to help you out.
Oh, I'm breaking one tonight. I'm gonna guarantee you. For those of you that don't know, in the supporter section there's a drum line, right? All the chants are led by the drum line, and your boy plays the snare drum in the drum line. So if you were at the match tonight, when you go, God, I wish those guys would stop hitting those damn drums, just know you're talking to me. By the way, if you are going to be there tonight, please, and I mean this sincerely, come find me. I will be wearing exactly what I'm wearing right now. Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow. You can watch the show behind the scenes. I will look just like this, but somehow more handsome. By the way, Lonzo, look at the swoop today.
Did you put any work in that, or just
it
just happened?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm getting a passport photo after work today. But then also, I'm like, I'm going to be on TV tonight. I'm going to be on TV.
So in the passport photo, you wanted to look a couple inches taller.
I finally got my new license yesterday, and I go to the lady at the DMZ, and she's like, "Are you still 6'3"? And I was like, 6'5". And she looks at me and she's like, 6'3". And I was like, all right, fine, Melissa, fine. Anyway, yeah, come on out, be there.
So wait, they don't measure your height anymore. They just ask you. They just ask you how tall you are.
In fairness, I was updating a driver's license, not getting a new one.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know. I'll say this: I didn't see them measure anybody.
I was gonna say I'm 7'3" next time for sure.
Yeah. Dear NBA, give me a shot. I'm 6'9". It says so right here on the driver's license. Yeah, if you were at the match tonight, please come up and say hi. Please come on. Our buddy Brandon yesterday, friend of the show, Brandon, tweeted me yesterday, said that he's bringing his daughter to the match tonight because they listened to the show together. Hello, Brandon and Brandon's daughter. If you see me, come say hi. This is the kind of stuff I live for. And on top of that, you ready for the fun part? The lady friend is coming with me. She loves to tell me how she's more famous than me in this city. And, Lonzo, she has not one but 2 Star Awards from her time in radio.
That's not bad.
No.
It's not bad.
I told her I got her coming up in, September?
No, it's August.
August?
Yeah, we just got an email about it.
I told her I got her.
We're going to be working diligently now on the next award-winning submission.
Oh, yeah. Come up, say hi. Love to meet you guys. All right, coming up on the show today. I told you at 9:30, we're going to be joined by Will Pelagic. Will is going to chat with us and talk a little bit about the Charlotte FCV Greenville Triumph match from the MLS side's perspective. Coming up at 10:30, Chris Lewis is the president of the Triumph. Doug Irwin is the chief branding officer. Both of those guys are going to join us to talk about what it means from the perspective of the Triumph and what it's going to mean for the upstate sporting community. Really excited about that. Coming up in the next segment, however, I have seen 2 stories about athletes behaving badly. Gasp. My pearls are clutched. Do athletes, A, have a responsibility to behave a certain way? And B, should some people just chill out? The answer is yes.
I need an explanation during the break about the pearls clutching thing. I'm not quite
Never
sure.
heard that phrase?
No.
Clutching my pearls?
I think that's like a phrase that was in the Roaring '20s.
No.
You know, like
No,
1920s.
That's a strictly Southern phrase, man. Like Granny wears pearls, right? Like that's the thing. Southern ladies wear pearls, and when somebody says something shocking, you might clutch your pearls as a reaction.
Okay, when I hear pearls, I think Martha.
No. See, that's the Ohio in you. That's that. We gotta get you. Yeah, it's like bless your heart.
No, that was a Batman reference.
No, I know.
Batman versus Superman.
I know. I bleached that movie. Oh yeah, we're friends now because our moms have the same name. Shut up. What a terrible
friendships
terrible
that started
movie.
over lesser things.
Your mom's name's Martha too. Are we BFFs? Let's do karate in the garage. It's terrible.
I've never watched the movie that you're referencing, but I know what it is.
The friendship in Step Brothers was better than the friendship in Batman versus Superman. Come at me.
You take that back.
Bless your heart. Which is another Southern phrase that does not mean what it's supposed to say. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back with that in a minute. I'm Rob Lonzo. This is the best damn sports talk station in all the nation. This is the Fan Upstate. All right, in the stream. What up, Steven? Welcome in, fella. Yeah, let's get that corrected. Will, good morning, buddy. Welcome in. Glad to have you, pal. Appreciate you coming by. So is MapQuest our version of uphill to go both ways in the snow? It is. It is, Steven. That is hilarious.
All right, that works, but I should have moved it to the right.
You shift your camera over a little bit. Seems like that'd be easier. There you go.
That's what I'm doing. Because that's enough stretching for me today. Actually, man, what a great job I just did. I don't know why I'm surprised. I mean, that's just excellent. That's just, and it's straight. I mean, it could have been crooked, but no. So I know the stream can hear me when I'm asking this question, but I'm going to ask Rob this question anyway. And if it gets back to my son, it gets back to my son. So I'm thinking about doing a new poster.
Yeah.
And I want to go very D&D this time.
Okay.
You think Cameron would be upset if I make him a dwarf? I mean, a wicked dwarf.
Or gnome?
No. I'm not going to do that because I also have an idea. There's going to be a shadow in the background over the entire thing, over the entire poster. It's going to be the shadow of Pappy, but I'm not quite sure how I can do it. But I've seen some comic book covers with like the shadow of Kingpin, and I'm thinking along the lines of that. So I got to look up some stuff.
They're putting the grid up, Lonzo. In the sky.
Oh.
The grid's up.
Yeah, it is. They're a little crooked on the one. I mean, that guy needs retraining.
Well, there was just one guy over there that was talking about how chemtrails aren't real. So they're like, well, let's just put a little extra dose over there.
What if you looked out and they spelled Rob in the sky?
You ought to have it look something like in Critical Role whenever Orthax, the demon that had Percy, when it would kind of like come out behind him and just be like transparent gray smoke, but with two eyes that glow.
That's a good idea, but it has to be it's got to be like a side view almost in order to catch the beard and everything that Pappy would look like. I've heard him described before.
Can I, as a minor show contributor, can I just be somewhere in the background, really just like, just way off in the distance?
I can do that.
Steven said, so is MapQuest our version of uphill to school both ways in the snow? I think it is. I genuinely think that it is.
Well, since I've done both, that's probably what it is.
Yeah. I think, Grandpa used to go, you kids in your MapQuest, you don't know how easy it was. We used to have to use street signs. And then for us, when we're talking to the new tech kids, it's like, hey, those GPSs are nice, updating you on your route when you miss a turn like an idiot. You know what happened when we missed a turn? We had to go backwards till we got to somewhere we knew we had been, then turn back around and try again.
Speaking of which, I have this argument at my home, and I'm curious because you've lived in several different places. Do you go by street names or exit numbers?
Exit numbers. Like on the interstate, exit numbers.
You guys are all truckers, man. That's street names.
Not on the interstate.
Well, if I say I'm getting off on this street, no one knows what I'm talking about.
Correct.
That's just weird.
Correct.
Okay. We're just
exit 56. That's on the top of the sign. That's the first thing they tell you what it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what a synth would say, only dealing in numerical numbers and not actual names.
All right.
That's just, I don't get, just a bunch of truckers. There's nothing wrong with being a trucker. Truckers go by exit numbers and stuff, but there's a street name for a reason.
Yeah, because that's what y'all used to do. Just every street should be a number now. Been in New York? Every street's a number, and it works out beautifully.
Yeah, it's a number followed by street.
Corner of 13th and 26. I know exactly where the hell you are. Go up 13, go over 26. Boom, there we go.
I know a miracle happened on one of those streets.
34th. Virginia. There is a Santa Claus. All right. So I got to tell you, and we're going to talk more in depth about this later in the show because we got to jump out early in just a minute because Will Pelagic from Charlotte FC's radio team is going to be joining us. There is much grasping of pearls taking place on Twitter right now because Jimmy Garoppolo, soon to be former San Francisco 49er quarterback, who will be on a new team, I assume, within the next 3 weeks. There is a picture of him floating around on the interwebs. And on the interwebs, you can find the picture of Jimmy Garoppolo, who had the audacity, my goodness, the audacity of Jimmy G, to take a picture, Lonzo, with his arm draped around a Hooters waitress. No. Say it ain't so, Jimmy G. People are losing their minds. They're like, this guy should be focused on football. He should be focused on his career. And he's out here taking pictures with Hooters waitresses.
He's showing Tiger Woods up, isn't he? Forget Friendlies. Forget, Waffle House.
No, he just
going straight for Hooters.
He just has the same hero that I do, John Daly. JD, who, by the way, whose son has played in one. He's playing for Arkansas, Woo Pig Suey. His son is playing for Arkansas. He has played in one tournament so far, and he just signed an NIL deal, Lonzo, with Hooters.
I saw those pictures.
Love it. Santa is enjoying his time off, John Daly? I love that guy. Absolutely love that guy. Anyway, Jimmy G is seen on the interwebs in a picture with his arm draped around a Hooters waitress. And people are like, oh, how is he not out there focusing on his career? Why is he not out there focusing on football? Guys, relax. And by the way, it has been confirmed since then that the Hooters that he was at in the parking lot taking a picture with the Hooters waitress, who, by the way, probably asked him because Jimmy G is a very rich NFL quarterback who is, I'm secure enough to say, a remarkably good-looking man. An objectively attractive human being.
Not since Touchdown Jesus have we had such a good-looking guy in the NFL.
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. Jimmy G is objectively an attractive man. All right? And most of us are not going to be at a point in our life where the Hooters waitress asks to take a picture with us. The majority of you weirdos are the ones asking the Hooters waitress to take a picture with you.
I have pictures of the Hooters.
Well, you're world famous, so you don't count.
I didn't ask for them.
You're a celebrity.
But we were doing a radio remote.
Right.
And I've
got pictures with Hooters waitresses because, and this is true, about 6 years ago, for about 3 years, I hosted in Destin, Florida, the Hooters Sports Show with Rob Brown. My show was literally title sponsored by Hooters, and I did remotes at Hooters 5 nights a week.
There you go. You're probably going to get pictures with, waitresses in there because of,
Absolutely. But most of y'all are going to have to beg for the Hooters waitress to take a picture with
They're
you.
really making a big deal out of it.
Yes, there are people freaking out about it. Like, I got this morning, I'm looking at, I'm like scrolling around the sports talk news websites, and there's like, Jimmy G out gallivanting with Hooters waitresses. It's like, gallivanting? Is that the word you want to go with here?
Really? Speaking of the 1920s. They're out there gallivanting with local waitresses from Hooters.
Look, Jimmy Garoppolo is a young, single, rich, attractive NFL quarterback. Relax. He's got no obligation to go, I'd love to take a picture with you, but then people would think I'm not focused. He's at the Masters. He was in Augusta. He was literally at John Daly's Hooters. Get off my guy, man. Let's take a break. When we come back, Will Pelagic works for the Charlotte FC soccer team on their radio broadcast squad. He's going to join us to talk a little bit about tonight's match from their perspective. That's next on The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Hi, Will. How are you? It's good to hear your voice, too. Sorry, we're running a little bit late. We were talking about Hooters. So, Yes, with Jimmy G hanging out with the Hooters girls, which apparently is a story. I don't know why, but it is. Are you ready for the long trip back to the upstate? Well, you're the big time now, so they're probably going to be riding in the back of the limo, right? All right. We've got about 2 minutes, and Rob will be right with you. Hey, hang on. Apparently, he doesn't have a limo. I'm shocked. I'm not grasping why Jimmy Garoppolo and Hooters is a big deal. I don't. I'm just looking at headlines. Bro Bible says fans love seeing Jimmy Garoppolo pictured with a Hooters. Then it trails off. I'm guest waitress. Look, off-season photo of Jimmy Garoppolo is going viral. That's by The Spun. Internet reacts to Jimmy Garoppolo spotted taking a picture. Is it because he just recently had surgery and you can't rehab at Hooters? Is that what it is?
I mean, it depends on your definition of rehab.
Yeah, I don't know. See, that would imply, Stephen, that he's just not. He's preparing for the interview. He didn't see your question.
Correct.
He would never overlook something that you ask.
I have not seen it, but I will address it when I get a chance to look at it.
Stinking Ron, man. Let's see, John Jones was trending yesterday because of the proposed fight. If I click on why he's trending today, will it say he was arrested again? Because that's usually how it goes.
It's match day, baby, right here in the upstate of South Carolina. This evening, 7 p.m., Legacy Early College is the site where your Greenville Triumph, one-time USL League One champs, two-time USL League One runner-ups, host an MLS side. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Professional sports meets its top level right here in the Ville tonight when Charlotte FC makes its way from the north down to the South Carolina. Right here in the upstate is the site. Looking forward to being there. And Will Pelagic, who some of you will be very familiar with, is the radio play-by-play man for Charlotte FC and joins us now right here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Willie P., what's happening, big fella?
What's going on, Rob? Great to be back on to the upstate with you guys.
Man, really, really good to have you, buddy, and very excited about the match tonight. So before we get into it, will you tell us what's the conversation been about this game for you guys from a technical perspective, from a match perspective, and from the perspective of a brand that is in its first season, is still growing its roots, etc., to be able to get down here to the upstate and play a little soccer in front of a region that's got a pretty good FC fan base, but obviously you guys want to continue to grow in it. What's the conversation been like about this U.S. Open Cup match down here in the Ville?
Well, I know that the technical staff and the coaching staff have taken the right approach to it. You know, they see the value in this matchup, not just from a regional aspect, but obviously from the incentives that are involved in the U.S. Open Cup, not just financially, but the potential for a berth in the CONCACAF Champions League that could be possibly on the mark for them if they end up hoisting that trophy at the end of the summer. So it's definitely something that Miguel Angel Ramirez appreciates. He's somebody who won a cup championship in South America when he was at Independiente del Valle. So he knows how to motivate his squads. And, you know, that squad that he won with was a very, very small squad in Ecuador that took down some of the big giants in South American football. So he's used to having to kind of mold these different things together. I do feel like because of the fact that they are in between two Saturday matches, including one that they'll have to play at elevation, you will see some squad rotation, but make no mistake about it, they want to win, and they want to at least put on a good show for the fans down there in the upstate as well.
Yeah, and I think that's obviously the big question the Triumph are looking at. We had John Harkes, the head coach of the Triumph, on last week, and he said, look, don't make any mistake about this. We are the underdogs. We know we're the underdogs. We're probably big underdogs, but we're going to throw everything we've got because this would obviously be a monumental win, a historic win for the Greenville Triumph. So I've been asked by a lot of fans, what will we see out of Charlotte FC? Will we see the traditional starting 11, the starting 11 we would get if this was an MLS match? Are they going to throw reserves and substitutes at us and try to save themselves in the midst of an MLS week, etc.? And my assumption has been, Will, Charlotte FC is going to come down here and try to win this soccer match. Is this being treated like a regular match by Charlotte?
I think it's being treated as much like a regular match as they can, just based on the fitness level of the guys that they played. You know, they played a very tough matchup in New England last Saturday where their starters got basically about 70 minutes of time. So that was a pretty heavy load for those guys. I don't know how many of those guys will play tonight or they'll feature at least at the beginning, but from what we know, everybody's available, at least in terms of the guys who played on Saturday. In terms of whether or not they're going to start, I don't know if that's necessarily realistic, but I do know that we see a lot of times in these U.S. Open Cup matches, teams will go for the gusto there at the end to try and make sure that they at least have an opportunity to get a result if they can, because of the fact that, if you're not asking for a guy like Karol Swiderski to play a full 90, maybe he can play a 30, maybe he can play a 60. That's kind of the way a lot of these teams will approach that, especially in the earlier rounds when the games are probably a lot more condensed. This is also the most condensed season that MLS has played here in recent memory. So it's caused a lot of squads to have some squad rotation. We saw a couple of cup sets last night, Detroit over Columbus, Union Omaha over Chicago, and that's because both of those teams had real tough situations in terms of their injuries. So I do wonder what kind of squad we'll see tonight. Of course, they're keeping everything very close to the vest in terms of what they're going to do. But if there's one at least prediction, I would say, I think I wouldn't be shocked to see the former Clemson goalkeeper George Marks in net tonight, just because I know he's been pushing for time. Not necessarily by any fault of Christian Kalina, who's been fantastic, but I do feel like there is an appetite to possibly see him on the pitch for the first time. And the Upstate makes an opportunity, which is an easy one for a debut for a guy who was a former national champion.
Will Pelagic does radio play-by-play for Charlotte FC. They visit the Upstate tonight when they take on the Greenville Triumph right here at Legacy Early College. It's going to be 7 o'clock this evening. And from that perspective, I mean, the U.S. Open Cup is obviously a tournament, Will, with a lot of tradition, a lot of history, but it's one we've seen upsets. You talked about it last night. The USL had a really good showing against MLS sides last night. It is not one that MLS teams can waltz and enter into the third week and think they have effectively a bye where it show up, toss the kid out onto the pitch, and take home a W. As far as training, as far as getting ready for this match, while wedged in between, as you mentioned, a really tough MLS side last week, another one coming up this weekend, has there been additional focus? Has there been film room time on Greenville? Has there been training sessions dedicated to what Greenville does? Because obviously it's going to be a different approach than they would see from an MLS side.
Well, they're not doing the full training like they would normally this week, definitely, Rob, just because of the fact that they want to make sure that they're, 90 minutes fit to play a game tonight. But I do feel like there is an attention paid on Greenville. I think all the attention that they have this week is on Greenville, at least leading up to this contest. They'll make their focus on Colorado happen later on this week. In fact, they're going to travel early to Colorado after the game tonight to get acclimated to the altitude out there for their game against the Rapids this weekend, because it'll be the first time that a lot of the South American and European players on their side have played at elevation. So it'll be a little bit of a different type of atmosphere for a lot of those guys playing there for the first time. But I do feel like all their focus is on Greenville. This is not a divided team right now in terms of its attention. I know from what Miguel Angel Ramirez said to us on Monday, he said, look, the scouting department, they scout ahead on every opponent. They do about 2 or 3 opponents ahead. Each one of the assistant coaches takes a different team, and they had a particular coach who was set on Greenville, and they had the scouting department all in on it, and they know exactly kind of what Greenville likes to do, despite the fact that they don't have as many games underneath their belt as Charlotte does. They only have the 2 games in league play and obviously the one U.S. Open tilt. So it is something where it maybe makes it a little harder to prepare for, but make no mistake about it, their focus is solely on tonight and trying to pick up a W.
We're talking to Will Pelagic. He does radio play-by-play for Charlotte FC. Talk to me about, from your perspective, Will, this match this evening, because, again, it's not an opponent that Charlotte FC is going to be familiar with. It's not going to be the same tactics you would see from an MLS side. It's not going to be a coach that you would be familiar with. So what does tonight's match look like to Will Pelagic on the call?
Well, I do feel like tonight Charlotte FC is going to want to maintain possession like they have in their last couple of matches. They've done a lot better job of earning the possession. I do wonder if tonight you might see a little bit more of an aggressive mindset from them in terms of a shooting aspect. In their last contest against New England, they dominated the possession 60-40% against the Revolution, but did not get off as many shots as New England did. And despite having the ball in dangerous areas, they found it very hard to penetrate New England's back line. So I do feel like there are some openings that they can possibly exploit in this matchup tonight. I also wonder, too, how the physicality of this match ends up playing out, because it's one thing that I feel like they've adjusted to this league actually very, very well. So much so to the fact that a lot of the opposing teams that we've kind of talked to and talked about, especially ones who Charlotte FC have played for a second time, have remarked that, hey, Charlotte FC has come out in the midfield and been especially aggressive, and the referees have allowed them to play aggressive. So I'd look for a team that stands up to the physicality. I look for a team trying to, maintain possession, and one that's trying to exploit some issues there in the back end. And I do feel like it is a situation that plays well into them. This is a team I feel like they match up very well with. It's just a matter of whether or not they can get the goal, and that's always the biggest issue and the biggest question in terms of these games is that, sometimes the goals don't come until late when you might see some of those first-teamers back on the pitch. You're going to probably see some guys who are not used to playing 90 minutes with this game model, at least in a game-type setting. So I think there'll be a lot of things that are leading to very, very big intrigue for tonight on both sides. And I do feel like they have a very good idea about, John Harkes, somebody who obviously is very, very integral to the history of American domestic soccer. He was one of the first Americans to go overseas. So there's definitely a massive respect there from Miguel Angel Ramirez. He knows what John Harkes is all about.
We are talking to Will Pelagic. He does play-by-play for Charlotte FC, taking on the Greenville Triumph this evening, 7 p.m. at Legacy Early College. Got another minute or two with you, Will. Let me ask you this. For a team that is in its first year as Charlotte FC, and by the way, punching, I don't even think punching above his weight. I think this team has done a phenomenal job of building chemistry, gelling itself much earlier than a lot of people anticipated. But if Charlotte FC was able to run through and win this U.S. Open Cup with a few MLS teams still standing between them and hardware, and this was to become the first big piece of hardware Charlotte FC wins, what would that mean to the club, and how important does that make it for Charlotte FC to get by Greenville tonight to leave that opportunity on the table?
Well, anytime you can bring up a trophy, it's a massive statement to not only the rest of the league, but the rest of the soccer community in general. And I do feel like, Charlotte FC has kind of punched back, if you will, to a lot of the critics who were critical of their build early on. There were a lot of people who said that this team was influxed with too much international talent, not enough MLS experience. And while they have had some issues in terms of getting used to the league with some of their players, the MLS experience that they do have is played very, very well. Brant Bronico, the holding midfielder, has been an amazing find for Charlotte FC. He was their third signing overall before even they had Miguel Angel Ramirez in here. Joseph Mora has played well at fullback, and they've had a couple of other guys like Daniel Rios who stepped in and done a lot of the dirty work for striker Karol Swiderski in the front line. So I do feel like there is an edge to this side. There is pride to this side, and I do feel like there is a mentality I feel like that's changing across the soccer community that, hey, even though Charlotte FC might have had a build that some might have thought they could be critical of, they play very, very good soccer. And that's testament to their manager, Miguel Angel Ramirez, because he has shown the ability to adapt from what I think we all thought was going to be a 4-3-3 side to more of a 4-diamond-2 side, especially because the fact that they haven't necessarily been equipped with the type of wingers that are normally able to succeed in that 4-3-3 system. Now, they did just add Kamil Józwiak, who we may see tonight, their second designated player, the Polishman, who was a Polish national team teammate of Charlotte FC striker Karol Swiderski. That might cause some tactical switches from Miguel Angel Ramirez. That might cause them to try to play a little bit differently in the coming weeks. Tonight might actually be kind of like a laboratory game for Józwiak because we didn't see him against New England. They said they wanted to get him some more time in the training model and more time in the game model learning it. I do feel like it's going to be a real interesting situation over the next month and a half to see how they play because they're in the midst of 3 straight road games and then they have 3 more at home. We'll know a lot more about how this side will acclimate to the rest of the season by the time we reach the end of May.
Will Pelagic, last question from Rob Brown to you. Dude, how much fun are you having doing this gig right now? Genuinely, how much fun is this for you?
It's the most fun thing I've done, Rob, and that's not a slight to doing radio down in the upstate like I did for about 4 or 5 months down there. That was a lot of fun, too, but this is really it hits different. It's a lot of fun walking into the stadium every day. I get to work with a fantastic partner in Jessica Charman. She makes the broadcast just completely pop. She's amazing when it comes to her soccer knowledge. one of the best partners, if not the best, that I've worked with in my entire time in broadcasting. The fan base has been amazing. We've had fans, basically 30,000 in the building every time we've opened it up, and it's really, really great to see. If you have not been to a match yet, I encourage you to go up 85 and check one out, because it's you can still maintain your Greenville Triumph fandom and still root for Charlotte FC. I promise it's okay. They'll let you in, and it's really, really a lot of fun.
You can, just not tonight, Will. We got a match. Will Pelagic is the radio play-by-play host for Charlotte FC, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Will, man, I have greatly appreciated, enjoyed the conversation, and hope we can get you back on soon if you don't mind, my man.
Appreciate it, man. No problem.
Love it. Thank you very much. That is Will Pelagic. He does play-by-play for Charlotte FC. We sincerely appreciate his time with us here on the show. We got to take a break. When we come back, told you about Jimmy G just a minute ago. A lot of folks also clutching pearls over Kyrie giving the old double one-finger salute to Celtics fans. Do athletes have a responsibility to behave a certain way? We'll address that next on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. You can tell he's a radio dude. Be right back.
Took me 2 hours yesterday to fix that pen. I think I was successful for the time being. What's going to be is what's going to be. QC in the first break. Acknowledge me with a nod.
QC in the first break.
It's not a nod.
QC in the
Thank
first
you.
break. During the break, Lonzo says, I knew it was only a matter of time before you and Will went so deep soccer that I just blanked out. Hey, it's catching fire, Lonzo. It's catching fire. It's on. We're a soccer community. You don't have to like it. You do have to accept it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do? Upstate South Carolina. Hello, America. What up, world? Great to be with you on a Wednesday morning, a match day morning. Having a time, y'all. So earlier this week, we told you about the blowback against Kyrie Irving. Kyrie was taking some heat from the Boston Celtics fans at TD Garden. He didn't like it. He threw the old double one-finger salute back up at the crowd. And many pearls were clutched that day. I'm just overusing that expression now because of what Lonzo said earlier. Many pearls were clutched.
It sounds dirty.
It does not.
I think it does.
You get the expression, right?
Oh, I completely understand the expression.
So pearls were clutched, and if there is an action that you relate to that, that's on you, not me. All right? So, pearls were clutched, and the NBA has fined Kyrie $50K for the obscene gesture, which he directed at Boston Celtics fans. Which, okay, fine, I get it, right? The NBA is trying to put out the image of a fun, family-friendly event, organization. Oh, bring the kids out. You don't have to worry about Kyrie flipping the double birds to your kid, except you do. So, Kyrie gets hit with a fine for $50K. At the same time, there are some people who are aghast at the fact that while trying to find a new job, while trying to rehab, while trying to get ready for the 2022 season, which will likely be the most important of his career, Jimmy Garoppolo had the stones, the guts, to take a picture with a Hooters waitress while he was at the Masters in Augusta a week and a half ago. There was a Hooters, like, effectively right down the road from Augusta National. It's very, very popular during Masters Week. John Daly actually brings a hauler and sells merch in the parking lot of this Hooters. That's not an ad lib.
So I'm curious, what's the next level from Hooters? So if he was with an Olive Garden waitress, would that have been okay?
I mean, look, Hooters has a rep, all right? Hooters has a rep. They know what they are. We know what they are. Although I will tell you, now I've not been to the Hooters here in the upstate yet, and that's not a shot. As I mentioned earlier, I used to literally host a show whose title sponsor was Hooters. It was the Hooters Sports Show with Rob Brown. For like 3 years, I did that. 5 nights a week, I was on location at Hooters between Panama City, Florida, and Mobile, Alabama. Right? I got nothing against Hooters. In fact, now the Hooters in Destin used to have the best wings in the game, and I mean that. And then they changed their recipe. I don't know what it was they changed. But I used to have a suggestion that one night a week, Hooters should dress up the Hooters girls in like full-length jeans and sweaters so that men who really genuinely wanted Hooters wings could bring their family in there and not get slapped in the back by the wife or whatever. Although my dad took me to Hooters for like my 12th birthday and it was awesome. Anyway, Hooters. Jimmy G's at a Hooters during Masters Week. He takes a photo with a Hooters waitress in the parking lot. And again, Jimmy Garoppolo is a young, rich, single, objectively attractive NFL quarterback. Chill.
So if he took a picture with an older woman, like let's say Jennifer Lopez or something, would that be okay? Would that be acceptable?
If you like it, then you should have put yet another ring on it. I don't know. I don't know with you. I guess the point that I'm making here is I don't get the outrage. I don't get the outrage. Here's the point that I want to get with. You know, we've heard the discussion 100 times. Charles Barkley said at one point, very famously, athletes are not role models. It is not my job to raise or parent your kid. It is not my job to teach your kid how to be a good life person. It's not my job. It's not my responsibility. It's not what I'm here for. And he's right. Chuck was right. Chuck was right then. He remains right now. If you are expecting athletes to behave a certain way so that your kid doesn't learn that there are some people in the world that are jerks, you're going to have a bad time. It's just how it's going to go. I would be more understanding of the NBA's fines if they started banning fans from courtside that yelled things, hey, Kyrie, you're a slang for the female anatomy here. Hey, Kyrie, you're a B. If we are going to say,
hey,
that,
Kyrie, look, I brought a globe.
Yeah, see, that's great smack. That's great smack. Hey, Kyrie, feel how the ball's round? You know what else is? That's good smack. If you were going to pop off on athletes who respond, to fans being verbally abusive by being abusive back, then you got to stop popping off on the fans too, right? Athletes do not have a responsibility to behave in a way that you want them to. Is it nice when athletes are good, upstanding people? Yes. Yes, it is. I go out of my way to commend them on the radio when athletes are good dudes. I respect it. Or good women. I respect it. They deserve praise. They deserve admiration. But just because they play a sport you like watching does not mean they have a responsibility to teach your kids a damn thing. If Jimmy G taking a picture with a Hooters waitress has got you up in arms, my suggestion to you is chill, dude. Relax. Most of the people who are upset that Jimmy G took a picture with a Hooters waitress, it always seems to be older dudes from what I saw on social media today. It's always older dudes. Why is he not focused on football? He should be on the training field. He should be in the rehab.
Yeah, those are the same people who get mad when a president is on the golf course. I mean, they've got some off time. You know, it's not all the way football all the time, no time for anything else. You got some time, and you're rehabbing.
Yeah.
I mean, and if the wings are good, they're good.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
Maybe they're upset that he's eating chicken wings. Maybe they think it's going to affect his health.
I have not seen a word about, why is he eating so poorly? It's, why is he off gallivanting with young women? Because he's young, and he's hot, and he's rich, and he's a professional athlete. That's why. You know what the difference is between you and Jimmy G? He's all those things, and you're not. It's that simple. If Kyrie wants to eat a $50K fine every time he tells the old man in the green shirt behind him who called him a B where he can shove it, I don't care. And Lonzo, you've listened to this show once or twice, right?
Huh?
You know I've got no love for Kyrie Irving. I have no desire to defend Kyrie Irving. I think a lot of decisions in Kyrie Irving's career have been dumb decisions. I think he hurt his team. The Nets are not the 7 seed. If he would have just done that one thing he could have done to play in all their games instead of half of them. Don't tell me he didn't impact team chemistry by only being there for half the game. So one night it's one lineup and the next night it's another. I got no desire to defend Kyrie Irving, but
I will defend him on that aspect, not in the way you think. He's often injured, so it's really kind of like he was hurt.
just very specifically injured. I got no reason to defend Kyrie Irving, but if you are going to allow the first 10 rows of every section to just unload verbal abuse on Kyrie Irving, don't be shocked when Kyrie turns around to the fans and says, "Here it is, sit and spin, pal." Athletes do not have an obligation to behave the way that you want them to. If you don't like it, don't watch, right? And this is a pretty consistent take from me. If an athlete wants to kneel during the national anthem, they have no legal obligation to do so. If it really hurts your feelings that much, don't watch. If an athlete wants to speak out about women's equality or civil rights or animal abuse or whatever other philanthropic issue they want to talk out about, and you don't like it, quit watching. It's really that simple. And that's for every topic. We had a texter yesterday who said on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, had a texter who said yesterday, "Rob, is it to the point that there is too much money for these athletes in sports? Should owners and GMs get together and go, this is our new cap limit. This is the most we are willing to pay a position playing athlete?" And I said, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because we keep tuning in, right? If you want to decrease the amount of money in a professional sport, you have one option, which is convince a lot of people to stop watching it on television. If not a single soul bought a ticket to a National Football League game this year, do you know what would happen to the NFL? They'd make less money, but they would still make money. You vote with your wallet. If you don't like it, don't watch. But if you are going to let the 2,000 Boston fans ringing the floor at TD give it to Kyrie verbally for the entire duration of the basketball game, but you have a problem with Kyrie flipping them off, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. If you have a problem with Jimmy Garoppolo taking a picture with a Hooters waitress in a Hooters parking lot while attending the Masters, I don't know what to tell you. Well, they're professional athletes. They have a responsibility and an obligation. Has Jimmy G not met his? He brought his team to an NFC championship game literally 2 months ago.
I'm also curious if it would have been another athlete, like, let's say, Tom Brady or someone of that caliber. We know Tom Brady wouldn't ever eat at Hooters, but someone of that because of his, diet and wife, but someone of that caliber, someone of that, because Jimmy G is not a bad quarterback, even though people paint him to be one, but he's not on the level of some of the elite guys. If an elite guy did this, would he be praised or would he be criticized?
I mean, I don't know. I'd like to think if anybody did this, they wouldn't be criticized, right? Like, if anybody did this, they wouldn't be criticized. Who cares? Well, sir, it's their job. This should be fun. Great. What do you do for a living, guy who's complaining about it? If you are banker, and you work at a bank, and one night you go to Hooters, and a thing that will never happen to you happens, and a Hooter girl goes, hey, you're funny. Will you take a picture with me? And you do it. What are you going to do when your boss calls you in the next day and goes, hey, you work here at the bank. I expect you to be a banker 24/7, 365. Last night, you should have been home watching interest rates. Why were you at Hooters?
Can you watch interest rates? Is that
I don't know. I'm dumb. What are you asking me for?
You used to work at a bank. You might know.
Does it look like I am a smart money person, Lonzo?
You are haughty, but the money thing, you might have a point there.
Yeah, exactly. Does my car look like a guy who does good with dollars? Nope.
I think you're hiding the Bentley back at the crib.
Yeah,
that's
I promise you I'm not. You know how I know? Ain't no room for a Bentley. All of the available car space in my two-car driveway is eaten up. I gotta wedge my motorcycle in front of two cars, and that's it. There are any financial investors looking to endorse the Rob Brown Show? I'm listening.
Including Hooters, by the way.
Including Hooters.
Yeah.
It's part of the reason I don't have a car. Thanks, Hooters. Listen. No, you would get mad if your boss came to you and said, hey, banker, it was 7 p.m. on a Saturday. Why were you at Hooters instead of at home watching the money stuff? You should be all about the money stuff because that's what you do. No, it is a job. It is not him. Kyrie, if somebody walked into your place of business, got into your face and said, you are a beeping piece of beep, beep, and you went, I'm sorry you feel that way, sir. Good for you for having the patience of a saint. Nope.
Doesn't this go along the same lines of what Baker Mayfield said? If I show up at your place of business and start booing you, how would you react?
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing.
Yeah. So these people are still people. These people are still people. They are still human beings. All right? It is what it is. Chill.
Who posted the picture? Did he post a picture?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Or did the Hooters waitress post a picture?
But I don't care. I don't care if it was Jimmy G that posted it or the Hooters waitress or Hooters itself. I don't care. It's a picture. Relax.
I'm just asking that question because if he did post it and he sees the backlash, will that stop him from doing that sort of thing in the future? Or will he post more?
If it's me, I'm going back to Hooters. I'm going back. I'm walking in and going, can I get a picture with every Hooters girl in the joint? Individually. I'm posting them all.
You know, Hooters is just waiting till he gets signed by a team, and then he will be doing Hooters
100%.
commercials.
If Jimmy G doesn't have a Hooters endorsement by May, I will eat my hat. Metaphorically. I'm not actually eating a hat. I did watch a guy on Reddit lose a bet and have to eat a hat one time. Like a real hat. I don't know. No.
How? I mean,
he literally just shredded the hat and ate it.
Okay, I'm just wondering how he didn't actually take bites out of the hat in order to. Okay.
He cut up the hat and he ate a few pieces, and then he was like, I can't do this. Then he took the remainder of the hat, dropped it in a blender, and made a hat smoothie out of it. Which I accuse them of cheating. I'm like, that's drinking the hat. That's different. That's different.
Well, smoothies are kind of thick, so it's almost like eating ice cream. But
still.
But how can you do that and not die?
Texter said Jimmy G dated a porn star. He does not care about Hooters. Is that true?
I seem to recall seeing some stories about that.
Let's see. TMZ has it. San Francisco 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo made headlines last week when he was spotted out with adult film star Kiara Maya, and now the world has some insight to their relationship. TMZ caught up with Maya on Saturday night to get the scoop on her night with Garoppolo. Warning, NSFW for language. Shocking. Mia said she's a, quote, good luck charm for Garoppolo and predicted a Super Bowl victory because, quote, everything I touch turns to gold. By the way, I will not be Googling that name.
Yeah, don't do that.
Nope.
Don't do that. I don't even think Chris could cover that up for you.
The only thing I like more than athletes who are just unapologetically themselves, Marshawn Lynch, turning donuts in a Zamboni. The only thing I love more is athletes who are themselves, and then when called on it, just Kyrie Irving everybody who criticizes them. Oh, you don't like that I went on a date with a porn star? Here's some advice. Don't go on a date with a porn star then. I'm good. Go ahead, Jimmy G. I told y'all for years, the only mistake Tiger Woods made was what? Getting married. That's it. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Your thoughts are welcome. 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FANFONE, 844-326-3663. You can also text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. Can't wait for Twitter trending topics today as MILF Island is trending.
Yeah, not doing that one.
Come on, Zoe.
I already decided not doing that one.
Come on, Zoe. Let's push some envelopes.
I did click on it because I was curious, though.
So did I. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
QC.
Say bye, my friends at QC Kinetics, ladies and gentlemen. QC Kinetics is your home for non-surgical regenerative joint therapy. What's that mean, Rob? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'll tell you. When you age, inside of all of your joints is a connective tissue. You know, it goes in between the parts that move. And it prevents the parts that move from touching when they move. And unfortunately, as you age, your body's ability to regenerate and restore that connective tissue, it goes away. And when it does, those parts that ain't supposed to touch, they touch and they rub against each other, and it causes inflammation, and it causes soreness, and it causes pain. And then you got to live with that pain because you had, past tense, a couple of options. One, live with it. Two, get surgery. Well, now you have a third option. And as far as I'm concerned, it's the best option, ladies and gentlemen. The best option is to call my friends at QC Kinetics or go to their website at qckinetix.com, qckinetics.com. And when you do, you will learn about their non-surgical regenerative therapy, a therapy that helps to heal and restore and regenerate that connective tissue inside your joints. So the touching goes away, the soreness, the inflammation goes away, and so does the joint pain and the fear of joint pain that impacts your day-to-day life and decisions. Give them a call right now at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show. Get a consultation for free with our friends at QC Kinetics.
Compete with Ric Flair in what way? That's
Woo.
yeah.
Jimmy G should be in the Hall of Fame.
Weather Center. Here is the Upstate's most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. For today, we'll see plenty of
All right, so those addressing Rob singing the Beyonce song when I was talking about J-Lo, he was talking about how many times she'd been married. That's why he did that. He knows, I don't need to defend him, but he knows the difference in the songs. And Tayshawn, I haven't tried it. I skipped that one for some reason and went right to the Valhalla, I think was the title of it, with the Vikings, which was an excellent game, by the way. But I've noticed that that game is actually on sale right now, and I've been tempted. But I still haven't beaten Elden Ring yet. And I did what I do a lot of times. I get all the way near the end of a game and decide that the build that I'm using, I just cannot beat the game, and then I start over. And then I usually win after that. And then worst case scenario, I can ask for help. But I am zooming along in my second playthrough, which I've decided, those people only like magic. So I'm doing more of a magic build, which goes completely against how I normally play a game. So
Playing sea shanties on Alexa.
Did you?
Yeah.
So since you went to break so late, we're going to, if they call at 10:30.
I'm just going to come back, I think, introduce the interview next, and then go back out. I hate to
Okay.
see break so close to each other, but yes, I did go to break much later than I wanted to.
I'm just saying they're usually fairly timely.
Yeah.
Unless you want to text
They'll
them and
wait for
ask them to
break.
call.
They set aside half an hour for it. So.
Okay. All right. I defended your singing of the Beyonce song and pointed out that you did that because of how many times she's
Yes,
been married.
that's why.
It hadn't, because people were thinking you
Correct.
got them confused.
Correct.
Yeah, this is going to bring us back close to 30.
Yeah. There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was the the winds blew hard about, dipped down, go young, and they lost beyond. The men come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the turkeys spin, we'll take our leave and go. I love a good sea shanty.
Yeah, you're going to get us flagged for sea shanties.
I'm not. I can sing it. It's not going to flag me, I promise, because I don't sound anything like a talented artist.
There they are. Rob Brown Show. I am doing well. How are you today? We'll say you should be. This is pretty exciting. All right, hang on. What?
Let's just do it here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, let's just do it
All right,
here.
all right. We're going to do it. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
All right, we're going to do it. Hang on, Chris. Aren't we expecting another phone call though? Never mind.
Yep.
Never mind. Rob Brown Show. Hey, Doug. Hang on, we'll get right to you. A little bit of hesitation there. It's weird.
Chris?
No. I mean, like a little bit of a
okay.
delay, and it may be that I just talk way too fast or something. I don't know.
Well, we've been telling y'all for about a week and a half now that there's a relatively large sporting event taking place right here in the upstate this evening at 7 p.m. Legacy Early College when MLS side Charlotte FC comes a calling. They'll be hosted by your Greenville Triumph. Very excited about that match tonight. Cannot wait to be in Legacy Early later on this evening. Joining us now on the radio broadcast to discuss that is the president of the Greenville Triumph, Chris Lewis, their CBO, Doug Irwin, talking a little footy with us and what it means for the surrounding community. Chris, welcome in, big dog. How we doing, fella?
Well, it's just Wednesday.
Yeah, no big deal. Just another day in the life.
Kind of normal.
Doug Irwin with us as well. Dougie Fresh, what's happening, big dog?
Rob, how's it going, my man?
It's going great, buddy. It's going great. It's match day. Could not be more excited about this. And I want to start from that angle. First, I'll start with you, Chris. From a front office perspective, man, are you guys busy? What's the last week and a half been like getting set up for what I think might qualify, not just as the biggest soccer match in the upstate, but I genuinely believe is the biggest sporting event in the history of the upstate? What's it been like for you guys the last week and a half getting ready?
It's been, I guess we'll use the phrase, it's been controlled chaos. We started planning the minute that the envelope was ripped open on the draw day last week, and have kind of gone from there. That we have an unbelievable staff, and right away, Doug and I had a collection of probably 3 or 4 people in our little office here, and we got right to work on ticket planning, ticket pricing, all of this kind of thing to get things out and ready to go, so that we were in position to launch everything as soon as we had some of the questions we needed answered. And it's been great. The upstate community has responded amazingly to this, and this is going to be historic on a number of fronts for the club. And one of those fronts is this is going to end up being the largest crowd in club history. And we're getting pretty close to where we're going to have to flip the switch to off on ticket sales soon.
We're talking to Chris Lewis, president of the Triumph, and Doug Irwin, CBO of the Triumph. And Dougie Fresh, for you guys, especially from a branding perspective, right? Getting the name out, getting the image out, getting information, getting knowledge of the club out. I assume this has got to be one of the biggest opportunities, if not the biggest opportunity in that department for you guys. I mean, not only are you going to have a nationally televised audience tonight when an MLS side comes calling, but you don't have to go to their house. You get to put Legacy Early and a home match environment in front of a national audience on TV, in front of the entire upstate, as I have heard this match being discussed on pretty much every radio station I've tuned into for the past week. For you guys, how big of an opportunity is this for the Triumph, for upstate soccer, for all of us in the community to really make Greenville look sparkling?
Well, I think you answered your own question. It's a humongous opportunity for us. And, I think we know that we're still a relatively young organization, and there are people around Greenville and the upstate that haven't heard of us. But, I think a lot of people, even if they're not big soccer fans, have heard about Charlotte getting a Major League Soccer team. And, for us to get the chance to play them, it just brings a whole new level of awareness. Certainly with the close proximity, we know we're going to have a good batch of Charlotte fans coming down as well. But, you just look at the buzz. You talk about it. There are people talking about it. The news outlets are talking about it. Obviously, you guys at Fan are talking about it. It's just a huge level of intrigue, and it's something that as this tournament continues to grow and people to understand more of what this tournament allows for situations like this that do become kind of David versus Goliath, at least in terms of leagues. It's only great for us, and we've already seen a couple League One teams have upsets last night, including one over an MLS team, and we're hoping we can bring another one this evening.
Chris, I talked about this earlier in the show about how one of the things that I love most about coming to not just Triumph matches, but the Swamp Rabbits and the Drive, there's nothing that I enjoy more about those matches than seeing the next generation of athletes when they watch professional sports in the upstate and understand that, the goal might be to the show, but they've got opportunities to represent the upstate and represent their city of Greenville or the surrounding area, playing professional sports locally. And to have an atmosphere like this and a place like what the Triumph have put together, how much does it mean, do you think, especially you've got young kids, you've got kids that are coming up in the soccer ranks and love this game, to know that this is an opportunity for the next generation of athletes to see what this sport is all about and what a professional event looks like, and to do so right here in their own backyard? What do you think that means to the upstate sports community, specifically the next generation of athletes?
It's something that's really cool to them. As you mentioned, both of our kids are playing the game here. Our son had a match last night, and we were on the sideline with the parents, and the parents are excited about it. My son's team is coming, and they're bringing family members and that kind of thing. And, they're really excited. Parents were coming up to me last night as soon as I got to the field for the game, asking how ticket sales were, asking, are we ready? And for the upstate in general, I think, again, this shines a light on, the upstate community and the Greenville community, and the fact that this is a soccer town and that people are interested in this game. And yeah, there's some nuance to it, and there's a cool factor to the fact that, the highest level of soccer in this country is coming to Greenville and to Triumph Stadium at Legacy Early College. But we had great support too. Our partnership with CISA that we announced a few weeks ago has been great. They sent out blasts, and there were a number of purchases from there. United FC, another youth club in town, sent a blast out. We've had folks coming from there. So for the kids to see, our players who are pretty tangible to them. Our guys are great about getting out in the community and being available after matches for autographs and pictures and things. For them to see these guys that they're getting to know playing against guys that play at the highest level, it's really cool for them. And to your point, I think it sparks that thought that, this dream that I have about playing in MLS or wherever else could really happen. And these guys are doing it right in front of me, which is cool.
Doug Irwin is the CBO of the Greenville Triumph. They get set to take on Charlotte FC and MLS side this evening, 7 p.m., Legacy Early College. We heard you guys say earlier that the upstate community has responded to this event, and I know this place is going to be packed out tonight. Doug, to see that response from the upstate soccer community specifically, but I've had a lot of people that aren't big soccer guys or gals that have reached out to the show and said, okay, this is an event that might get me in. Tell me what I need to know, etc. Doug, to have that opportunity to potentially grab a new fan base, to add to the fan base of the Greenville Triumph here in the upstate, etc., and to do so with such a high-profile match in the U.S. Open Cup, how have you guys kind of angled to take advantage of that?
For us, it's really just about putting on the best display we can, and being able to pack the stadium and show people what it's all about. We've always felt confident that we've got a fantastic game day experience, even being in a temporary stadium situation. So, tonight we're pulling out all the stops with our food vendors. I think we have 6 or 7 different food and beverage vendors coming tonight. And, Rob, from sitting in section 110 where the Reedy River Riot and all our supporters are, they set the tone for the stadium. And I think what you get to see in the stadium when it's packed out is all the chants that the Riot are leading really start to wrap around the rest of the stadium and get the whole crowd involved. And we think it makes for one of the best home environments in our league. And, certainly for lower division soccer in America. So I think you're going to get to see that in full display on tonight, and to get those new fans is fantastic because, tonight's a huge night, but then we turn around and we're back home again on Saturday night against our biggest league rival in South Georgia. So, hopefully some of these new fans come get hooked tonight and come support us Saturday night and beyond too.
Let me follow up with that real quick, Doug, and ask you, when you have an event that's this high profile, and certainly the deeper you make it into the U.S. Open Cup, the better it is for the Triumph, the more recognition you get, et cetera. But when you compare that to success within USL League One, as you guys are early in this new USL League One season, are you trying to find a balance between hyping this, a definite sellout at Legacy early, the most high profile match in Triumph history? How do you strike a balance, not just between that and making sure that next week when we get back to USL League One, that you carry some of those fans into the future of the regular season of the Greenville Triumph?
That's a great question, Rob. And I think, again, it's just showing off that great game day experience and showing that, hey, whether the stadium's sold out or not, this is the kind of atmosphere we put on. And, the access you have to the players and the celebrations and everything are the same regardless of who we're playing. So, I think talking to our coach, John Harks, he talks about, at the end of the day, the number one goal is to win the league, and certainly he feels strongly about the Open Cup as a former player and three-time winner in the Open Cup. But at the end of the day, too, it's a long season and it's an exciting season. It's a very, very competitive league this year. Some of the teams that were picked to be at the bottom of the league this year have started undefeated even. So, I think again we need to use this as an opportunity to educate people on the league and to get in the cadence of our 15-match home schedule too, and show them that tonight's not the only night we can have a great time at Legacy Early College, and we're hoping people are gonna catch on and want to come out again, and then hopefully to come to the women's games too.
Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph. Doug Irwin, chief branding officer for the Triumph. Chris, for you guys on the admin side, on the soccer side, I'll ask you the same question, but for that perspective, again, you want to put on a show tonight. It would be fantastic to walk out of there with a win, as we have seen a couple of USL teams get wins over MLS sides already in this tournament. What has, from Coach Harks, from you guys on the admin side, what has been the mentality as far as balancing how big of an opportunity this match tonight is with fitting it into what the ultimate objective is, which is to go get another title within USL League One?
I think what Doug touched on is a great point, is that it's a long season, and the U.S. Open Cup is a fantastic event. It's something that's layered in to the season. It's something we haven't had for the past couple of years because of the pandemic. And it's historical. So it's really cool to be able to be a part of that and host it. At the same time, we try and keep our eye on the ball, so to speak, with regard to what the ultimate goal is. And the ultimate goal is to add another star above the crest, get another ring. Hartsy's very focused on that. And quite honestly, so are the players. When players come to Greenville, and our players said this when we met as a group at the beginning of the year, and some of the new, the guys that were new to the club were in the locker room. Our leadership and, players that have been here since the beginning in some cases have said the expectation for this club is the final. That's a high benchmark. It's a lot to deliver on. But that's where the work comes in, and that's where the work ethic emanates from, is that, what you said at the opening of the call, Rob, is that we've been to the final each of the 3 years that the league's been in existence, and we want to keep that streak going and add to, the hardware that this club has earned. So it's, tonight's obviously a big deal. It's a focus. We want to win as many matches in this tournament as we can, but at the same time, we have to balance our roster. We have to balance the playing time, the fitness levels of our guys so that they're ready to go, because we turn around and kick a ball again at Legacy on Saturday evening. So we have to be ready for that as well.
Chris Lewis, Doug Irwin, the president and CBO of the Greenville Triumph, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. Chris, Doug, man, appreciate you guys' time. Cannot wait to be at Legacy early tonight and make a little history, boys. Let's do it.
We'll see you tonight, Rob.
Pleasure to be on with you, my friend. Thanks for the support.
Always. You know it. That is Chris Lewis, president of the Greenville Triumph. Doug Irwin is the chief branding officer, the CBO for the Triumph. Tonight is going to be, as the kids say, Lonzo, freaking lit at Legacy Early College. If you're not there, you have made a mistake. Back after this to wrap up hour 2 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
So I was told I could enter a promo if I wanted to for Upstate Pulse
Here?
for Star Wars.
Oh, for Star Wars. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, you absolutely should.
I don't know.
What would be the category?
Promo.
Oh, best promo?
Says promo.
Absolutely, you should do it.
I think it's a reason to. I think it's a way to get me to do the promo. Which is going to work probably.
I'm Chuck Sanders, and that's your sports flash on the Fan Upstate.
This show,
Yeah.
and we'll
Put that in it.
see if they did.
Is it 5 minutes?
No, promos are just 6 feet.
Oh, gotcha. Put in for a best promo. Okay.
Yeah. So, and they have to make the final decision.
Yeah.
They may go. Because I don't know how many promos they
Can
actually.
we resubmit the Tom Brady in orbit promo?
No, that's out of the
out of the
out of the
window.
date range. I disagree with you, Stephen. I think that he would do well in TV, and I hope he's able to move forward with that career. I do love the emails that make it sound like it's an option, like pick what you want to enter. Do need to go talk to my guys and tell them to get on working on theirs, though. And you and I, if we can, need to set aside some time, a couple of days a week or something, and even if it's just you tell me what you would like to be in it. Talking about for our submission,
Oh yeah, 100%.
yeah, and then we'll.
I'm gonna go listen through all of the lowdown clips because all the lowdown clips are highlight clips. So I'm gonna go listen through all those and pick out a few I like, and then I'll pull the unedited clips out of the shows they.
And then, according to my winning formula,
Of
That's
which
not-
there most certainly is
that's
one.
not bragging. That's just you end with comedy.
Oh yeah.
It's worked every single time. So we just need to pick the best promo. And I think it needs to be a mix of everything that's done on whatever show it is. So a little bit of serious, phone calls thrown in there, interviews thrown in there, all that stuff.
Concurred entirely. And I'll have you know I was nodding.
I saw. I was looking because you're looking down, so I didn't have to make eye contact.
Yeah, I'll pull some.
You don't even have to pull them. I mean, you can just tell me and I can find
Well,
them.
I want to help.
Okay. Be interested to hear what.
Did you see that commercial?
No, I can't see the TV, remember?
Caesar on his tablet gets an invite to connect to whatever that Zoom style meeting was, and he opens it, and it's got 4 senators, and their names are Brutus, and and they're all like holding knives, and he gets on, and they're like,
So this is not.
Steven suggests we put the Icelandic phalluses into the submission.
No,
I'm not against it.
no.
We're trying to convince people we are professionals with this one.
While a great promo, not the best promo of the year, though. So
You know, I haven't heard it in a while.
it's in there.
Is it?
Yeah.
Make sure that somebody else didn't take my favorite promo of the
Well,
year.
I did see one of the promos was covered up with a 3-second thing. So I think someone's using numbers without looking to see what they do. And I have to talk to them about that.
Thanks again to Chris Lewis and Doug Irwin from the Greenville Triumph for joining us here on the show. Dude, it's like soccer Christmas. Jumped out of bed. And I don't jump out of bed primarily because when I jump at 37, I hurt myself. Jumped out of bed this AM. Ready to roll. It is game day. Cannot wait. And to the dude that I hear driving down the road going, Rob, nobody cares about soccer. All right, man. Well, we're going to be packing about 7K deep into Legacy early tonight. And they could have sold more tickets if they had room. By the way, not saying, just saying, how big is this match if the Triumph have a stadium? Not saying, just saying. Just for no reason at all. How big is this match and what's it look like on national TV if the Triumph had their own stadium? Just saying. All right. Third hour of the show is going to be slammed up. When we come back here in just a minute, Ben Mcadoo is the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, and he, by his own admission, these are not my words, these are his, stuck his foot in his mouth a little bit during a press conference. We've been sitting here talking about what quarterback will the Carolina Panthers bring in? Will it be Baker Mayfield? Will it be Hooters philanthropist Jimmy Garoppolo? Will it be Malik Willis? Will it be Kenny Pickett? Will they get stuck with Matt Corral? And based on what Ben McAdoo said in a press conference yesterday, it might be none of them. According to what Ben McAdoo said yesterday, you might get Return of Sam next year. We'll take a look at what Ben McAdoo said and respond to that in the next hour of the show. Got a few other topics that I want to run by you as well coming up in the next hour of the radio broadcast. Dickie V, baby, hates the transfer portal and used a not so great argument to talk about why it should be shut down. I will address Dickie V, a guy that, to proceed that conversation, I'd like to make it known, I love Dick Vitale, one of the nicest human beings I've ever met in my life. But he's wrong, and we're going to break that down. We told you that 2 Gamecocks entered the transfer portal on the football field on Monday. Another one joined that club yesterday. A tight end on his way out. We'll tell you who and why. And plenty more. Third hour is going to be rocking. Hope you stick around for it. I'm Rob Brown. He is the great Malonzo, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along.
figure out what time I'm leaving Friday to get there. So it'll take me like an hour to get there.
Oh, Hall of Fame.
I wanted you to get there on your own. So it's. Bing bong.
All right. Gotta get it off my chest. During the break, I was listening to the Sports Flash, and this is not a critique because I know that this is something that has been ingrained in sports broadcasting, dudes, and I need it to stop. I need it to stop yesterday. Lonzo, let me ask you a quick question. If you got a report that tomorrow Matt Rule was no longer employed by the choice of the Carolina Panthers, and I asked you to write me a 10-second news flash that said Matt Rule doesn't work for the Panthers anymore because the Panthers didn't want him to, how would you write that?
Matt Rule has been relieved of his duties as coach of the Carolina Panthers.
All right, cool. I'm good with that. Matt Rule's been fired by the Carolina Panthers. He's been terminated by the Carolina Panthers. A lot of words you could use. So I'm listening to the Sports Flash there a second ago.
I was trying to be as haughty as possible.
Yeah, of course you were.
I don't think I achieved it, but I attempted.
Is no longer employed by the Carolina Panthers. He's been fired.
He has not. This is an example, by the way.
Yeah, it's an example. This is not breaking news.
Yeah, it's not.
You did not hear the glass shatter. We just turned upside down a lot of smiles, didn't we? We would say he has been fired, relieved of his duties.
Might play some Vince McMahon, maybe.
You're fired. Instead, I hear the story about MLS team DC United and their manager, Hernan Losada. DC United was thought to potentially be a competitive team this year, but barely a year into his tenure, Hernan Losada has been canned. He is no longer a manager there. DC United is last in the Eastern Conference. They have only 6 points through 6 matches. They did not make the playoffs last year. And I hear Sports Flash announcer, bro. And again, not a criticism because I get why he's doing it. I just don't want him or anybody else to do it anymore. He says DC United has sacked manager Hernan Losada. Sacked him.
Well, that's what they call it in across the pond.
Right. And it's exactly what I need to stop.
Perhaps the reporter is a Harry Potter fan.
Or just a soccer fan.
Could be. So he's using soccer terminology and you don't like it.
Right.
Okay.
Kind of. Here's what I don't like. I don't like when American soccer fans try to Euro up the game. We are not in Europe. We do our own thing here. Earlier this morning, Captain America Chris Evans down the hall came down to the office, rigging me up a new laptop since we'll be on remote on Friday. Rigging me up a new laptop, and we're sitting in the office, and we're talking about tonight's match between the Triumphs and Charlotte FC. And he goes, this is really interesting. I have a question about the name of that team. I said, fire away. He said, Charlotte FC. He said, what's their mascot? So they don't have one. They're just Charlotte FC. And he said, why? Why? So I started, the haughty intellectual that I am, if you ask Lonzo, I started by telling him why so many soccer teams are called club or United or City, right? And the history of that goes back to many of these clubs started as genuinely as clubs. They were just a place where dudes from around an area or women from around an area would go and play soccer together. They were just a club, just like any other club. And then as soccer boomed into the professional sport that it is, these clubs just kept their name. Then you would get a bunch of clubs that would band together to form another larger club. And they would become United, like Manchester United. Other clubs would play to represent their city. So they would stick the word city, like Manchester City.
All right,
onto their names.
I just want to point out that I just learned something about the United thing because
Sure.
I didn't know that.
Most people don't.
So now I know.
Most people don't, right? Most people don't. So there's history to the reason that clubs are named that way. But when MLS underwent its most recent iteration, which has been successful, there was a big debate within the American soccer culture about, do we do it the American way? All of our teams have some sort of mascot attached, right? Sometimes that mascot is an adjective, like triumph. Sometimes it's an animal, like the Panthers. Sometimes it is a more regionalized name, like the Swamp Rabbits, which of course is represented by a rabbit, but is named after the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which means something to people who live in the upstate, etc. But they all have some sort of mascot attached, whereas European soccer clubs don't. They may have a nickname, like Chelsea Football Club is called the Blues, right? But they don't have mascots per se. But there's other aspects of it too. We had Will Pelagic back on in the 9 o'clock hour, 9:30. And he said so-and-so may or may not be on the pitch tonight. We don't call it a pitch in any field, in any sport. It's not a baseball pitch. It's not a football. They're all fields. It's a field, baseball field, football field. We don't call it the pitch. One thing that I have noticed as a self-labeled soccer ambassador over the years is that there have been people that I think might be interested in the game, but they get put off a little bit by what, if we're being honest, sounds like kind of pretentious language, right? The young striker donned his kit, laced up his boots, and proceeded onto the pitch. And this is from somebody who is regularly labeled as pretentious. It sounds a bit pretentious. We don't wear boots in America when we play sports. We wear cleats. We don't step onto the pitch in America. We step onto the field. Now, I don't have a problem occasionally referring to him as such, right? And you've heard me talking about it. I've said it before. Especially if I'm talking with somebody who is a soccer dude. As Lonzo pointed out, when Will Pelagic, a soccer dude, came on the show earlier, I morphed into Rob Brown, soccer dude. And I will refer to it as a pitch or boots or a kit or whatever when I'm talking to a soccer guy. I try not to do it on the air because I don't want potential soccer fans listening who might be interested in tonight's game, right? Like, even if you're not a big soccer guy, there is a professional sports team coming to our city to play tonight. You might be interested in that. You might not be a big hockey guy, but if the Detroit Red Wings came down to play the Swamp Rabbits, you might want to be at the well for that. What I don't want to do is have that potential soccer fan, that guy I might be able to win. I've told you the story. I've told you guys the story of how I became a soccer fan, right? I was not a soccer. I played soccer, but I wasn't like a fan. I played our games up through high school, and that was it. Then I went to college, and I joined a fraternity. And in that fraternity was a large group of Latin American students, all big soccer fans. And one of them, Luis, sat me down and said, Rob Brown, I know you're a sports guy. I want you to watch soccer with me. And I went, dude, it's just soccer, right? I don't need to watch 11 dudes kick a ball around a field for 3 hours for a tie. I was just like Lonzo. And then Luis said, tell you what, show up. I'll buy the beer. It's on me. If you got questions about the game, I'll answer them. If you have a good time, cool. And if you don't, the beer was free. Thought, all right, cool. So I showed up to watch a match. Chelsea was playing. Didier Drogba, a South African striker, scored a hat trick. And I had loads of questions. How come those guys just stopped running? Why did he do that? Why did that guy move there? Why didn't he just attack the ball? And Luis answered all those questions. And suddenly, I saw the game, right? It wasn't 11 guys running around and kicking a ball. There was strategy. There was tactical advantages and disadvantages and setting traps and this, that, and the next. Right? I saw the game. And over the years, developed a bigger and bigger fandom. And now, I literally travel around the region to go watch football. To go watch soccer. I love it. I have asked, face-to-face in many cases, soccer friends of mine. Look, if you are British, there's a gentleman who lives in town. His name's Gwyn. Great dude. He's from Liverpool. He talks like Ringo Starr. It's amazing. I love Gwyn. He's great. I need to get him to call into the show. I do. Gwyn's from England. If Gwyn calls it a pitch and boots and a kit and all that, I am on board. That's fine. That's what they call it there. That's where he's from. No issues, man. But if you're like in the South and you're trying to win people over to soccer, calling them boots instead of cleats, calling it a pitch instead of a field, calling them kits instead of uniforms, shirts instead of jerseys, that's not what we do here. It's not our thing. And the thing is, I'm not trying to word police you, right? I'm not trying to tell you what you're allowed to say and not to say. You do whatever you want to do. What I am telling you is that if you want to grow the game, as I do, if you want to grow the game, to talk about it that way sounds pretentious. It puts people off. You know what the best way to get somebody not to involve themselves in your thing is? Make them uncomfortable, right? Lonzo, if I'm trying to get you into a new thing and you are super uncomfortable about the new thing, are you not more likely to go, I don't know, man, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm out.
Well, especially at my advanced age, getting me to try new things it's difficult.
Sure. But if I make you more comfortable with that new thing, if I explain that new thing and get you involved in the new thing to the point that you're comfortable with it, I'd say you're probably more likely to try it.
Well, you can pique my interest in knowing me and knowing the things that I'm into and pointing out how this is like something that I already like. Yes.
Sure. Lonzo's coming with me to Hall of Fame Sports Grill when we're live on Remote Friday, 9 to noon, and then hanging out afterwards. And Lonzo's going to play the first game of Cornhole he's ever played. And I can tell you, over the past few weeks, he's been like, Cornhole. And then yesterday on the show, during a break on the live stream, which you can watch at facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or on the YouTube app by searching The Rob Brown Show, Lonzo asked me during a break, okay, so how does it work? And I explained the rules of Cornhole. 3 points if it goes on the hole, 1 if it lands on the board. At the end, you tally up your points versus the opponent points. You take the net and apply them to whoever had more. First to 21. If you bust over 21, you go back to 17. Lonzo got familiar with the game. And now he's probably a little more, I'm assuming, a little more excited to play it on Friday. Have a little fun.
There's a little bit of doubting of ability, but, other than that.
Right, but you're familiar with the game. You're not going to go, because it's one thing to go, I've never done this before, but I'm familiar with the game, right? We watched people at the curling thing we did last year.
Yeah.
Lonzo and I are familiar with curling. I've been watching it for years. But there were people there who had no idea what the hell they were doing, and you could tell there was a little trepidation about engaging in this physical activity. Those of us that love curling and have been watching it on TV, we were like, give me the rock, son, I'm in. Let's go. Let's slide. Can't wait. They're like, well, we're going to show you how to. No. Don't show me. Give me a stone. I'm ready to go. Because we're familiar with it.
Well, in the case of Cornhole, I played horseshoes a ton growing up.
Sure.
And it's similar, very similar, except for the cornhole won't hurt you if it hits you more than likely.
Depends on who's winging it, but yeah. But the point is, you're familiar with it, you're more likely to get involved. So I tell my American soccer friends, if you were trying to grow the game, if you were trying to get somebody in soccer, don't throw all the hardcore Euro soccer language at them. Don't pretend like you're British when you do it. Because if you do, you're going to put them off, because the more you call them boots and a pitch and a shirt and a kit, the more you create an unfamiliar boundary about the sport that they're going to go, no. I put on boots when it's time to go build something or hike. A kit is a thing that I go buy at the store to put together an object, not a thing I wear. A shirt is what I put on when I'm going out to dinner, not to play sports. That's a jersey. Don't call it those things. Call them what we call them. Make it as familiar as you can to those people so that it's less they have to think about and more they can just focus on the game. That's how you do it. That's how it works. Increase familiarity, and people are more likely to want to be involved because they're not scared off by all the weird words that you're using. I got no problem calling it football. You know the only reason I call it soccer more than I call it football? I got no problem with football. In fact, it makes more sense to call soccer football than it does football. Why? Because it's a game played with a ball and feet. Pretty much nothing else, right? I got no problem calling it football because that's the name of the sport. It was football before American football was football. The only reason I don't call it football when I'm on the air is because, A, some of y'all get mad enough at that to turn off the radio, which is bad for me. And B, because if I just go, coming up next on the show, a legitimate football conversation, and you tune in thinking I'm going to talk Tiger football or Gamecock football, and you tune in and I go, let me tell you about Landon Donovan's managerial debut last night. You're going to go, who the hell is Landon Donovan, and what is a manager? Right? So I call it soccer. Make it as familiar as you can to people. Don't put them off by using all the flowery British language which again, I don't have a problem with. When I tune in and watch EPL mornings on NBC on Saturdays before I sit down to watch Everton-Liverpool or Liverpool-Man United, and I listen to them talk about, I don't care if they call it a pitch and boots and kit and shirt. I don't care. Because that's their environment. That's their world. But if I'm talking to soccer fans here in Greenville and I'm trying to get them out to a Triumph game, I'm trying to get them involved and show them Section 110 and the Reedy River Riot tailgate party is the best time you can have in Greenville on a Wednesday night at 4:30 in the afternoon until ? I don't want to scare them off because the only thing that scares people more than death is humiliation, right? Every time they do one of these studies where they go, what's your biggest fear? Do you know what answer is always number one? Public speaking. Why is public speaking people's number one fear, Lonzo? You got a guess?
I'm afraid to answer right now.
Correct. Because you don't want to humiliate yourself. And putting yourself in front of a room or an auditorium full of people and delivering a speech to them where you are the only person in the room making noise, if you slip up, it is humiliating, or at least feels that way. The first 2 weeks I was on the radio, guys, I was like talking like this because I was like, oh, God, if I screw up. Now if I screw up, I'm like, yeah, what are you going to do? I'm an idiot. I accept it.
First show I was ever on was on with two other guys, and the biggest critique that the program director had at the time is Lonzo's not talking enough.
Yeah.
And it's because I was timid. I was afraid that I would say something stupid, and then I started saying things stupid and have for like 25 years now. So
I've been doing it 15. I've been humiliating myself on air weekly for 15 years. Being humiliated, feeling naive, feeling like an idiot is people's number one fear in life. And that's statistically proven. Outside of death itself. And some people might prefer death to being humiliated. So when people show up and they want to be a part of it, or at least they're intrigued by it enough to try it out. If they show up and you start asking questions like, who do you think is the premier number 9 that could play the front right and lace up the boots and kit for the... No, because they're going to go, I don't know what these words mean.
Pele?
David Beckham was a guy, right?
I saw Pele in the movie with Sylvester Stallone in it, the soccer movie.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was an excellent movie. I want to say it was Glory, but I don't think that's what it was. It might have been.
I genuinely don't remember.
It was a very good movie, though.
But the point is, you make it familiar for them, right? All right, that guy up there, he's the striker. He's the forward. He's the guy that's supposed to score the goals. Let's make it familiar. I promise you, once you get people to the point that they are intrigued enough to ask questions, the majority of them are going to like the game. They're going to like the game. You just have to, I did that with hockey, too. I did it with NASCAR. I was not a NASCAR guy till I got to college and met some NASCAR dudes who explained the sport to me, and now I watch as many races as I can get my eyeballs on. Hockey. I grew up on the beach in Destin, Florida. The only ice we had was shredded up to make a margarita out of. I'd never seen hockey until Pensacola got a team. And then people started dragging me to games. And then I went, oh, damn, this is fun. I like this. Because they familiarized me to the game. They taught me the game. And now, I literally go work for the Swamp Rabbits when they need help. I mean, it's great. But you're not going to do that if we keep going, oh, no, it's not a field, it's a pitch. Not here, it's not. Call it what it is. Call it what it is in our world. Let people be familiar, and then you'll give American soccer an identity. And you'll stop with the real men play football, girls play soccer garbage that has hampered this country in a sport we should be elite at for freaking decades. Trust me, I am right. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Charisma. So Tayshawn and Trey, I see you guys discussed Ghost of Tsushima or Shima, whichever. I am curious because I had an argument with someone over my choice at the end. What did you guys do? Try not to be spoilery, but I don't think there's any way. And the game's been out a couple years, I think. Did you let him live or did you give him his wish? Because I will say that I chose to give him his wish and let him die an honorable death because to me, that was showing the love that he still had for his uncle. If you let him live, as Trey said, he let him live. If you let him live, then he's going to, and you may think, well, if he lives, maybe he'll learn the error of his ways. He's not going to because he's going to stay in the way of the Shogun and will forever pursue his nephew. I thought it's being more honorable and showing the love for your uncle by giving him his wish. And it's a hard choice. And I had an argument with my son over that. He's like, no, you should have let him live. And I'm like, no, if you let him live, then he suffers every day. And that shows you really don't love him.
What game? I'm assuming game are we talking about?
Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
At the end, it's been out a couple of years. I don't care if I spoil. At the end, you have a choice whether to, your uncle is a shogun and you go away from those ways because the plot of the game. I'm not going to go into too much details, but at the end, you have to fight your uncle. And you win if you want to beat the game. And then you have a choice. He wants you to end him or you let him live. And to me, if you love your uncle as much as you say you do, you go ahead and give him his wish and give him an honorable death rather than let him win knowing that it cancels out everything he believes. So, And Cameron was, no, you made the wrong choice. Like, no, I didn't. Because you put yourself in the situation. That's a true immersive game when you put yourself in the game and you're so invested in the story at the end, you think, what would I do? And, hopefully I'm never put in that position. But within the game, I just thought that was a choice to make. Did you see what I sent you?
Not yet.
You need to look at it close.
That's a shirt I buy. That's a shirt I buy.
I thought you might. That's why I sent it to you.
That's a shirt I buy.
Even though you'd have to buy it from the WWE shop, I guess.
Don't care. Trey, to answer your question, yes, we have chants. We have songs. We have a drum line in the stands in the supporters section. Which again, like that angle of it, I don't care, right? That adds to the atmosphere of the stadium. I've always thought, some of the coolest traditions in college football. I'll give you one that I fell in love with. Tom Petty's from Gainesville, Florida. When Tom Petty passed away, at the end of the third quarter, the Gator fans all sang "Won't Back Down" by Tom Petty, and it'll give you goosebumps. It's incredible because they yell it. It's amazing. Soccer fans have been doing that for years. I have no issue with adopting that angle of it. But yes, we have songs, we have chants. If you ever make it out to a match, I'm at every home match. So please come to one. Tickets in the supporter section are $10, right? $10. You're in the match and you're in the supporter section. Come to a match. Trey, come with me. Come with Keegan. I will put you dead center of the supporter section. We will teach you the chants. It is a blast. You ready for me to really make some people angry here, Zoe?
Yes, I am.
On the Facebook stream, Trey says, if we start using terms like pitch, boots, and nil, will we eventually have to convert to the metric system?
Don't you do it, Rob Brown. Don't you do it.
I hope so.
Jeez.
Can we please? Why have we not yet?
You might as well go ahead and start packing up your office.
Why have we not done that yet? You mean everything's base 10? We just count to 10 and then you move to the next one? How is that not easier? How is that not better? As opposed to the system that was put in play by some drunk guy a few hundred years ago.
If we didn't create it, we don't need it.
Lonzo, how many feet are in a mile?
By America.
How many feet are in a mile?
See, here's the
You don't even know.
Here's the other thing. You know why? Because I don't need to know.
You don't even know. You do.
I don't need. Why do I need to know? Why do I need to know how many feet are
in case some smart-ass radio host ever asks you how many feet are in a mile to prove a point.
Day 3 of Rob demeaning my intelligence on the air. Can't wait till Friday when he does it
in public.
You ask the average person, you just walk down the hallway and go, hey, Bob, how many feet are in a mile? They're not going to know that. People don't care that much to know that.
One texter knew. Already sent it to me, 5,280.
Yeah, they probably looked. They had enough time to look it up, yes.
Yes, we should switch to the metric system. I will agree to call it whatever you want to call it if we can switch to the metric system, which is significantly easier. All right, it just is. You don't have to like it. It just is. Base units are easier. It is what it is. All right, it just is.
The day we switch to the metric system is the day that America is over. So, I mean, that's just the way it's going to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Emmy for drama goes to Lonzo.
No, that would be a matter of fact voice. That would not be, there's no drama there. That's just, I mean, it's just reality.
Texter says, fan. Commie. Only communists measure in tens, you weirdo.
People will rise up against the metric system, Rob Brown.
Texter says, I work in construction. That's why I knew, but you are a commie. I love it. You guys are the best. Preferred Home Services text line, so you can call me a communist, is 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. I'll read them on the air, even if you do call me bad names.
Rob being called a commie, we call it Wednesday.
Yeah. Ben Mcadoo is the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. Brought in, and when he was brought in, I told you guys that I thought the reason they brought in Ben Mcadoo is because Ben Mcadoo has historically been pretty good at picking quarterbacks that would succeed in the draft. He's been pretty good at bringing in, or excuse me, at suggesting quarterbacks to be brought in during the draft. So I said, all right, Panthers are going with a quarterback in the draft. That's why they got Ben Mcadoo. Now, Mcadoo has been better as an offensive coordinator than he's been made fun of for doing, but that's really been his hallmark, is going, that's the guy, and pretty much nailing it. So I thought that, well, tip the cap. They're going quarterback. Over the past 2 weeks, things have shaken up just a little bit. It went from not a great QB class, nobody's really going to be making a push on quarterback, so the Panthers should be fine at 6 to get one, to there is at least one team that will try to get up ahead of Carolina and get the one they want, because Carolina cannot move up from 6. You don't have the capital. You can, but you'll just have one pick in the draft if you do. The Giants are looking at trading down out of the 5 spot. They wouldn't be doing that if there weren't some teams that were at least showing some interest in moving up to that spot. And there are now rumors and reports. Remember, it is full-on smokescreen season. But there are rumors that there are other teams that may be looking to trade into Houston's spot or Detroit's spot to grab one of the quarterbacks as well, meaning Carolina could be hung out to dry and stuck with a guy like Matt Corral, who I think in any other year is at best, a late round, first round, probably an early second round pickup, right? Now, it looks like Carolina may be in a spot with at least one, maybe two teams moving in front of them, taking the 2 quarterbacks off the board, Willis and Pickett, that are considered first-round guys, and leaving them out to dry. So Ben Mcadoo was at a press conference yesterday and started talking about it. And somebody asked him, hey, Ben Mcadoo, who's a starting quarterback? Who's the guy? And Ben Mcadoo, in what, let me say before I go here, may very well have been a smokescreen. It is smokescreen season in the National Football League. It is the point in time where every team is trying to disguise what they are going to do. Now, sometimes the best way to disguise what you're going to do is just straight up tell people what you're going to do and then let them go, he's too starting to do that. He wouldn't do that thing he just said he's going to do. Sometimes you throw up a smokescreen. Ben Mcadoo, the offensive coordinator of the Panthers, was asked in his first press conference since he was fired back in February whether Sam Darnold was the starting quarterback, and Mcadoo said, quote, Sam is our starting quarterback. Yes, end quote. A few minutes later, he added this, Lonzo, one of the things I've been working on is being better talking to you people. So announcing the starting quarterback here, I just put my foot in my mouth. That wasn't something I should have said, end quote.
Smokescreen.
That was my thought. A smokescreen, right? That's an obvious bluff. That's a tell. Ben's sitting on a straight flush here, and he doesn't want anybody else at the table to know about it. Because if you're looking at trading up to 5 to get ahead of Carolina, and you now know Carolina's not drafting a quarterback, you're probably not going to go ahead and give up the resources you would have to give up to move to 5, get ahead of them, and take the quarterback that you think they want, right? You can just stay there at 10 or 11 or 12, knowing that guy's going to fall to you because nobody between Carolina and 13 needs a quarterback. So if Carolina says, Sam's my guy, you're going, all right, we don't have to trade up. We stay here. Now, if you're Carolina, they don't trade ahead of you. Malik and Kenny are both on the board. You get your pick. But here is the problem. The problem is shortly after that, somebody went and dug out a press conference from Ben Mcadoo from back in the day when he talked about Sam Darnold. He talked about Sam Darnold the year that he got drafted, and said of that year, quote, there was no Andrew Luck coming out, no guy head and shoulders above everybody else. Then he talked about Sam Darnold, and he said, quote, I think the kid the Jets drafted has a lot of magic in his game. I think he's special. He's obviously a talented guy. He can make plays with his feet. I just have a hard time drafting a guy in the first round when you don't necessarily like the way he throws. He can overcome it. Guys have, but that's something that's a challenge for me. I'm going to be looking at that, trying to fix it because it's a fundamental flaw, and I believe in the fundamentals. The quarterback, his number one job is to pass the football. If I don't like the way he throws the ball, I have a hard time picking him, end quote. Now, that take on Sam Darnold was laced with criticism at the end, but it was criticism that I can fix this, right? It is one thing to go, this car is jacked. I want nothing to do with it. It is broken beyond repair. It is another thing to go, it's a really nice car. I just don't like the tires. But I can change the tires, right? Quote, I think the kid the Jets drafted has a lot of magic in his game. I think he's special. He's obviously a talented guy, end quote. He said that about Sam Darnold. Now, granted, been 3 years of Sam Darnold since that happened. Been 3 years Ben McAdoo's watching Sam Darnold. But if his opinion is the same, Carolina might trot out Sam Darnold again. And justify it by going, well, we were allowed to pick an offensive lineman, a top-tier offensive lineman, with our number 6 overall pick. Listen, I said last year, Sam Darnold looked bad, and I agree with that, but he had zero help from his offensive line, and Christian McCaffrey was out a lot of the games, which meant his number one, oh crap, I'm in trouble option wasn't available to him. That to the Panthers might justify them not taking a quarterback, keeping Sam Darnold in the fold, and getting an offensive lineman going, okay, now he's got blindside protection. Now he's got a guy watching his back. He can be a little more comfortable. Now he's the guy.
Early on when McCaffrey was in there and Darnold was in there, he was getting some praise. People were starting to turn around and go, okay, maybe this wasn't a bad deal. And then as soon as McCaffrey went down, things went the way they went.
Yeah.
It shouldn't hinge on one player. Absolutely shouldn't, but that's how the Panthers have been built.
That's how the NFL works, dude. If the Ravens lost Lamar, they are a worse football team. If the Packers lose A-Rod of the football persuasion, they're a worse football team. That's the league. You just want that guy to be your quarterback, not your running back, right? Now, I leave it on the table. That smokescreen is a strong possibility here. The Panthers want to convince anybody interested in that Giants number 5 pick that they already have their guy in the room. They're not picking a quarterback so that they don't trade up there and take the guy the Panthers want. I also leave it on the table that there are still veteran quarterbacks out there and available. Baker Mayfield, and he comes cheap. San Francisco, Jimmy Garoppolo, and he comes cheap. And those guys will be in play even after the draft. As I've said, the Panthers, I think, end up with a vet QB. I just didn't know it might be Sam Darnold. They might end up with a vet QB. And if they end up with a vet QB, fine. I thought it would be Baker or Jimmy G. It might be Sam Darnold again. But it leaves the option on the table. And I told you, don't expect them to make that move before the draft. Because if you make the move before the draft, the decision is made for you. Right? Leave the options open. Because what happens if somebody does take that trade from the Giants at 5, but it's because they wanted whoever else that's not a quarterback? The Panthers could very well be on the clock at 6 and have all 3 quarterbacks still available. Malik, Kenny, and Matt. And they got their pick. And they might have the guy they want. But Ben McAdoo saying that, and Ben McAdoo having been a Sam Darnold believer. You ever heard of the sunken cost fallacy? In gambling, they use that a lot, right? You're playing poker, you got a pair in the hand, you go heavy in because you're trying to push people out, and then the guy across from you goes in, and he goes bigger. Right? There's only one card left, and all you got's a pair. And you go, well, I've already thrown $1,000 into the pot. What's another $1,000 to play it through, right? No. The smart bet there is you cut your losses and you get out and you save your money to play another hand. Sunken cost fallacy is I put so much in, I might as well see it through. Not all the time. Sometimes it's a dumb thing to do. Would you play the same hand if you had no money in the pot? No, you'd bail. You'd go, no, I'm not going to give away money here. I'm a loser. I'm out. You got to wonder if Ben Mcadoo is going to fall victim to sunken cost fallacy. Well, I've already made these statements about Sam. I've already invested in Sam. And because of that, I believe I can just finish the job. No, dude. You got a pair. You got a pair. And there's guys in the draft that are coming in with a pair that might be a better pair. And there's a guy in Baker out there that's a 3 of a kind. Not significantly better, but definitely a better chance at winning. Go with that. Go with that. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line says, the Panthers suck anyway. The only NFL team I'll watch, but wow, they suck right now. They don't need a practice facility. They need a quarterback. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The Rock Hill discussion was interesting because I think it's Tepper playing hardball, which might lead to him moving the Panthers out of the Carolinas. But what did I say was the cure to fix that problem? You play to win the game. And getting a QB will go a long way in that direction. Back after this to wrap up the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate.
Why does your shirt look blue on there?
A little bit.
It doesn't look green like that. It's got to be lighting. Because if you look at the shoulder looks green.
I mean, it doesn't look true green even on the computer screen.
You're right, it doesn't.
God, I hope not that many. Last match was riddled with them. Fuego spent more time on the ground than he got an endorsement from a sod factory. I worked with a guy. You did. He thought Sam wasn't getting help in New York or Carolina. He thought Robbie Anderson got paid and fell off. Yeah, again. There's a lot of people, not a lot, there's a handful of people that think that Sam Darnold is better than he's been given the opportunity to show based on the talent around him. And I don't have a problem with people who feel that way. But I still don't think he's a high caliber playoff quarterback. I think he's good enough to get you there. I don't know if he's good enough to finish it. And that's my problem.
If I throw that beanbag like that Friday, someone's going to get hurt.
Hey, everybody's got their own style there, but it's all about arc, right? Because the more velocity you have going that way, because that board is.
Well, I've never touched a board to know how slick it is.
Yeah, they're not waxed.
Polished?
They're they're polished and then they're lightly sanded. So if that bag hits with velo, it'll slide off the end. So your goal is to get it to come down with the least amount of forward trajectory. You want it to hit and bounce, not hit and slide.
What are the bags made out of?
Like a heavy fabric.
Burlap or something?
Probably. I'd say it's similar. There are guys, and you can get, you might be able to get it on Amazon, but there are guys who actually have bags that have a different fabric on both sides. So one fabric will be a little slicker, so they can slide that bag easier. Because like, if you've got a bag that's like sitting on the hole and like the corners falling over, but it won't fall through, if you can hit a bag with velo and slide that bag up the board, it can bump that one in and maybe follow it. And then on the other side, they'll rough up the fabric, so it's got a lot more friction on it. So when that one hits, it won't slide as much.
fries in Game 2. Season career high 5. The Braves snapped the Dodgers' 7-game win streak 3-1 in LA.
Tax day is nearly here, and Chanel is stressing. Her small business needs a bookkeeper to crunch some big numbers. And Indeed can help her hire great people fast. Indeed do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description.
That was not a good sound.
.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, guys, we gotta put our trays up for takeoff. Where's Dad? Oh, he's in the back. We could only get 3 seats together.
Daddy just said hello.
We'll get it later. Can you not put your feet up, please?
Why are we going?
We must be in line for takeoff.
Like security?
Well, that was a different line.
I have to go.
We just sat down.
But I have to go.
The signal sign's on.
Why aren't we moving?
No picking. Son of a...
Don't go there. Go on a real vacation. Go RVing. Learn more at GoRVing.com.
Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning. We'll look at what you've saved, what you'll need, and help you build a flexible plan for cash flow designed to last, so you can go from saving to living. Fidelity Research Services member NYSE SIPC.
Listen on the Odyssey app. Search the Fan Upstate.
Time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, and he tells us why it's trending.
MILF Island.
It's trending. If you want to talk about it, you go right ahead.
I don't know why.
Actually, I did put it on the list because I was gonna, but
Very
I
nice.
was gonna finish with it, not start with it. But now you got to click on it.
Why?
No, I guess you don't have to click on it. We can move on.
No, I need to know why it's trending. Is it like a real place? Because if so, it is going to be the most traveled to vacation destination of 2022 now.
I am not going to explore it. So, I mean, you can, but I'm not.
Oh, you know what? I didn't know why. There was a parody show. You ever watch 30 Rock?
No.
30 Rock was.
I know what it is.
Yeah, 30 Rock was a great show. Tina Fey, Alec Baldwin, Tracy Morgan, a bunch of other people were in that show. Really, really funny show. And the premise was they all worked at a characterized version of NBC on the show. And MILF Island was one of the parody shows that they put on their parody NBC network in the show. Now, I don't know why it is. Apparently, people ask those dumb questions on Twitter. Everybody responds. One of them was, what fictional project do you think would be the most successful in real life? And people are going, MILF Island would be the answer.
Okay, the next thing that's trending.
Lonzo couldn't get away fast enough.
The next thing that's trending is Jerry West.
Jerry West is trending because Jerry West is asking for an official apology from HBO and/or the production company that made the Showtime series about the Showtime Lakers. He is saying that they put up a slanderous depiction of him. In the show, Jerry West is known for outbursts of anger and breaking stuff and going on tirades, etc. Jerry West is saying that was not me and has got a gaggle of former Lakers to write letters of support saying that's not who Jerry West was. This is a really badly fictionalized version of him, so he's asking for an apology for it. I wasn't around then, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's been on Mark's show a couple times, and I could see him being a little surly, but I'm not. If he says it's not true, it's not true. The fact that he's asking for an apology, I wonder if they'll give it. All right, speaking of HBO Max is trending.
HBO Max has. Have you noticed though that we are getting movies like way more rapidly moving from theaters onto streaming services? Is Batman on HBO Max?
Yeah, Monday. It came on Monday.
So the Batman drops on HBO Max. It feels like that movie came out like 3 days ago.
Oh, it's still in theaters.
Yeah, already on HBO Max.
HBO Max is trending because Netflix is trending for the wrong things.
Yes.
And it's people are saying more people. I watch HBO Max more than Netflix. I do.
Yeah,
I
do
absolutely
too.
do.
I'm on the verge of canceling Netflix. They really haven't given me much. I pretty much watched everything I want to watch. And they're about to do a hard crackdown on people who are sharing Netflix subscriptions. Netflix, that's literally why we liked you. That's literally the reason.
Oh, no one in this room does that.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's it for us. We will see you tonight, 7 p.m. Legacy Early College. Be there. I will be looking as majestic as always. Hope to see you. If you do see me there, come up and say hi. Have a great rest of your day. We're back tomorrow to try harder on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Down the crown, up the triumph. Later, brother. Texter says the Rob Brown Show live from MILF Island, hosting a cornhole tournament this summer. Love it. Trey says, I get all of my sports opinions from this show. I let my daughter watch Bluey now instead of ESPN. Thank you, Trey. That's awesome. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow on the stream. Thanks for watching. Bye.